You need to start making your morning cup of coffee work for you. Right now, most people either drink terrible coffee or they're not getting the major benefits out of their cup of joe. That's why they need to know about Blue Brain coffee. We've talked about methylene before on this show, Dr. Hart and I, but this has been a game changer for our mornings personally. Let's jump in and talk about this.
Blue Brain Coffee is something Dr. Mark and I have been working with as a way to have a morning cognitive enhancer, right? So, Blue Brain Coffee is nothing more than organic coffee, methylene blue, and lion's mane. This unique blend, it's got a synergistic effect that it goes a nootropic, right? So that brain boosting, that cognitive boosting effect, when you use them together, it's enhanced, right? So what we're trying to do is really boost your brain power, Blue Brain Coffee, right? With that methylene blue and that lion's mane together with something you're probably already drinking. Let's jump in a little bit and look at some of the ingredients. First of all, the organic coffee. I don't particularly care what brand of coffee you use with this at the moment. I would just say make it a clean source, right? So make sure that it is a low mycotoxin, right? It's tested for mold and mycotoxin, so it's very pure and it's got plenty of antioxidants. So we know studies show that when you use good coffee, not instant coffee, but good, clean coffee, it's a cognitive booster, delays brain aging, helps prevent Alzheimer's, improves insulin sensitivity, right? Slows down fatigue. We know there's great effects to that. And so we're going to take advantage of that. Tell them a little about methylene blue, though, as one of the ingredients.
Second ingredient is methylene blue, a product that we use a lot. We like from our Infusion Labs folks. It has photodynamic gold actually to increase some of the red light absorption and energy replenishing duties that this supplement does on the mitochondrial electron transport chain. So it really
Yeah.
treats down to the cellular level. It's been used a long time. It's interesting that we've talked about in this in the podcast. A lot of people haven't heard of it, but other than being on antidepressants, which certainly a lot of people are, it has very few interactions. It's been used, like I said, in mitochondrial health, cell danger response, supporting the brain's energy production, has a monoamine effect in the brain, which can lift mood. It has a lot of neuroprotective properties. It's antiseptic, it's anti-parasite. We get a lot of good results in chronic Lyme cases as well, for IV or oral for that matter. So it's certainly what gives the blue in the Blue Brain coffee, but it's certainly an important ingredient for those reasons. How about let me add a little bit more to my coffee right now. So I got I got my cup of my Java of
It
choice.
does stain you guys, so try to get it right in the cup.
And just
Comes
put
off easily with some lemon juice, though.
a couple drops uh, or up to a dropper full, depending on the effect that you're getting, you're seeing, and you're looking for. And then the second ingredient, Dr. Hart, why don't you show them how to add the lion's mane?
Yeah, so lion's mane, if you're using a liquid extract, half a teaspoon to a teaspoon goes right in, right? You put that right in there, mix it in with the methylene blue in the coffee, right? It's quite tasty. I suppose you could put like a natural sweetener in there. I don't sweeten mine. I don't think you do, Dr. Sylvester, either, but you could put a natural sweetener, I suppose, if you wanted as well. And that lion's mane, it's a mushroom, right? So it really supports neurogenesis, brain healing, nerve growth, myelin sheath repair, right? So with these Lyme cases, especially where the brain and the nerves were affected, that blend of methylene blue and lion's mane can do a lot for nerve repair in the brain, right? Supporting the brain doing that. We find that lion's mane is great for ADHD focus, right? ADHD folks who need improvement in focus and executive functioning, lion's mane is shown to support that healthy brain functioning up in those frontal lobes. So we find it boosts that, really great for immunity. So you can see we're hitting multiple angles here. Not only the brain health, but between the lion's mane and that methylene blue, you're getting a big immune benefit as well on there.
And who can benefit from this type of drink?
Yeah, so anybody dealing with brain fog, needing mental clarity, more energy in the mornings, right? And it's a clean energy. That's the big thing we see. There's not a big crash from it, right? It's a very clean energy, especially where that methylene blue keeps it going. Folks who might be dealing with attention issues like ADD or ADHD, right? We're not saying it's intended to treat, diagnose, or cure medical illness, but we find it supports those same pathways, right? So if somebody's dealing with maybe Lyme brain, right, all that brain fog, if they're more fatigued in the mornings, somebody who's maybe dealing with depression, we know that these ingredients have been shown to help support a healthy mood. Okay. We do find it can even help some folks with anxiety on that front. So if you're dealing with those, we were Dr. Mark and I just recently did spoke at a conference together, and people saw me pulling out my methylene blue, pulling out my lion's mane, putting in my coffee at the conference. I had everybody and all the tables around me dropping methylene blue and lion's mane in there later, going, that stuff's incredible, right? And so it is a cognitive enhancement, especially at a conference where it's easy to kind of start to get into a lull, right? Keeping that going so you can focus and pay attention. You pay money to be there and learn. And so let's get that stuff dived in.
So I found that it works really well for students or professionals, basically anyone seeking to improve mental performance, optimize their physical functioning, and optimize their mental resiliency. You know,
Mm-hmm.
their brain doesn't get tuckered out. They don't start with word finding difficulty or losing their train of thought or inability to multitask. It sort of creates a more resilient state for the brain. So that could be anyone in the professional world who uses their brain primarily, doctors, pilots, lawyers. Or to your point about ADHD, it does have a pretty natural but significant impact on improving ADHD symptoms, or it seems to, we should say.
Yes.
Um, or just looking for a natural energy boost. This has been a long year. A lot of people, almost every patient of mine comes in talking about how fatigued they are and how they can't get going in the morning. And that was where Dr. Hart and I came up with this great idea of we need a good morning boost cocktail to get people's mind, body, and spirit right.
Yeah. Yeah. Originally I watched Dr. Sylvester put his methylene blue in his morning tea. And I was like, okay, we can do that with a morning cup of coffee. And then it was like, okay, if we can do something to boost a little bit more, even on the focus side, and it's like, well, lion's mane's a natural choice on that front, right? There's the naturopathic world, lion's mane is used heavily as a natural ADHD support. And so the blending works really well, and the effects are just obvious. Like I said, the folks at the conference with that first cup of coffee with it, they're like, yeah, okay, that's noticeable. Um, so in the morning with it, how you set it up, that's up to you. You want to use a French press. You want to use um, a cup of coffee from the Keurig, whatever you're doing. Brew your cup of coffee. Dose out your methylene blue, right? So start small. Sometimes we'll start with a couple of drops. Typically, what's a dropper on Infusion's the one we use quite a bit. Infusion.net is where we get the methylene blue. Is it 10 milligrams per dropper?
Oh yeah, 10 mils per milliliter
Yeah. Yeah. So
droppers. And
that's a pretty middle to line dose. Lots of people do great with just a few drops, right? And you can start slow and work your way up. And so start there. And then with lion's mane, you could put powdered lion's mane in there. It's gonna make it pretty earthy, but liquid lion's mane extract, quarter to half a teaspoon, maybe if you're a bigger guy, up to a full teaspoon of that lion's mane. Really get that brain going and just see how you do. If the next day you need to bump it up, go well for it. What are some productivity hacks you like in the morning that would go well while somebody's drinking it down, drinking their blue brain coffee? One of my favorite ones. So I'm a to-do list guy, right?
oh
And
yeah,
so I like to see what am I doing for the day? So I'll make my cup, I'll pull out my piece of paper and just say, okay, what do I gotta get done today?
right.
It's on the creative side. And so I'll do that while I've got the blue brain coffee flowing. And I really, for personally me, enjoying that, laying that out, and then the ideas just start coming, right? So that's when Dr. Sylvester and I are working on a heavy metals course, right? And so it's like, okay, I got to lay out the outline. How do I want to teach this? How do we want to set this up? Do it with a cup of blue brain coffee, and it's like, boom, laying this
Yeah.
out, get this set up. We were going over that before this call. So there's great ways. Did you have any other thoughts on maybe some productivity hacks?
With the coffee itself, I think it's good for like you said, organizing your thoughts, setting sort of the intention for the day, knowing what to expect out of your brain and your ability to function and remember, staying on task with the tasks on hand. So if
Yeah.
it's like, oh, I'm down to the third item, um, just pacing yourself and being more aware, I think is a great hack. Um, I think there's a lot of misconceptions about nootropics sometimes that they might do some things that they don't. What they do is they restore your body's and mind's ability to do what it does best.
Mhm.
So that's why it's more of a hack. You're hacking into the unadulterated, healthy state, you know,
Yes.
default state of your being.
Yeah, fully integrated brain. It's a goal there. So that's a good point about the nootropics. Other questions show up like, is it safe? 100% safe. You and I use it all the time in our practice. Everything above the dietary supplements been shown to be consistently safe in the research and in daily
Hmm.
use. You can take it every day, right? I'd recommend maybe taking 1 day a week off, give your brain a break. Sometimes with methylene blue, I like to have people cycle off for a few weeks to make sure they're keeping up with the benefits on it, right? So that in that function, and just in caffeine in general, I like to have people cycle off occasionally. But yeah, for the most part, you can use it daily for months at a time, no problem. Is there any other safety concerns you can think of for people to look out for? Maybe blood pressure with the methylene blue. If somebody's got high hypertension, go slow.
Somebody who might be actually a little extreme mold toxic or be suffering from a biotoxic illness, just like taking an antibiotic, he might get a die-off phenomenon. I have seen cases of, and these are usually, we do a lot of IV methylene blue because it's so safe, but at a high dose IV for an acute illness, let's say it's a UTI, for instance, and we do IV methylene blue, then they might get a little Herxheimer reaction, a little die off, a little fatigue, a little overactive bladder because of the inflammation
Yeah.
of killing off the bugs. But it's safe at very high doses. It's safe in IV form, and it's strong enough that the little tinctures in our coffee, you will notice, like you said.
Yeah,
And
you'll get a boost out of it. So that's
you
the
don't
big deal.
crash. It's not forever. You don't get insomnia, you don't crash. It's just sort of like lifts you up where you need to be and keeps you there. Like
Very
that's
clean. Yes.
yeah.
Guys, look, if you're curious about this, it's really easy to make. Like we said, it's not like you need a bunch of fancy ingredients or need to go buy a bunch of supplements. You can grab a clean source of methylene blue from infusion.net. They make a really great other detox supplements as well, but that methylene blue is a source there. We want to use good organic, tested, clean coffee. We want to use a really solid lion's mane extract, right, to put in there. You can start with just methylene blue if you want, see how it goes, but that's a great one in there. And Doc, as we're kind of wrapping up and we're talking about Blue Brain Coffee, and guys, hey, if you want to give Blue Brain Coffee a go, grab your cup for us. Let us know how it goes. Take a picture
Yeah.
with your tongue out right and just go ahead and tag hashtag Blue Brain Coffee and tag us in it on the Alt Psych Show because we love to see everybody's blue tongues and their cups of Blue Brain Coffee on there. If you enjoyed this, subscribe to the show. We do these periodically on different subjects. And throw some questions in there, guys. If you got questions about Blue Brain Coffee, methylene blue, lion's mane, put them in the comments. We're happy to chat about it.